And let's turn now to Sheila Kahyaoglu. She's with to talk about Boeing. She's the aerospace and defense analyst at Jefferies. Sheila, thanks for joining us tonight.
Sure, thanks for having me.
And you don't think that this whole mess with the 737 MAX grounding will have a lasting impact on Boeing long term? Why?
We don't think this is a long-term impact. Clearly, fly a deal was a setback. Ultimately, it is. But we point to four things. First, this is the first cancellation, in fact, and it was a commitment of an order. So it wasn't a firm order, in fact, and it's only 1% of that 4,400 backlog. So longer term, we don't think this is a big impact. This is a startup carrier that started operations in 2017 that needed aircraft immediately. And to the last point, Phil mentioned this was an order in December. They already had a fleet of Airbus A320neos, about a dozen of them. So somewhat surprising that they went with the MAXes and looked for 30 of them. So overall, this is not a long-term impact, but clearly a setback.
You also point out the fact that one of the reasons why you still like Boeing is the fact that although Airbus may have a dominance in the international markets, the wide-body sector, really Boeing has the advantage in that area.
Yeah, so I think the 787 has done extremely well. When you look at its carrier base, I think it's sold to 71 different carriers. It's had several repeat customers. I think 40 of them have been repeat. So it's really taking a market share position versus the Airbus A350 and the 330. And the 777X, we'll see how that does as that enters production next year. But, you know, I think the wide body front Boeing has won, and the narrow body front, obviously this has given Airbus a bit of an advantage.
But what kind of impact short term is this going to have on their earnings? It has to have some material
Sure.
impact, doesn't it?
So we cut our free cash flow estimates. We cut them about 75% to about $6 billion from $15 billion at the start of the year. Part of that is they're not delivering these MAXes. They're building up the inventory at the 42 a month they're producing. They're not receiving payments for ones they would have shipped. And also we think about some compensation to the airlines as a matter of like lease payments that we're factoring into our estimates. But what we're looking for is to keep as much of 2020 intact as possible in 2021. What we did last week is we downgraded Spirit, which is a big supplier to Boeing. 50% of its revenues are to Boeing in that they built this fuselage for the MAX.
Right.
And we thought they would have a short-term impact.
Sheila
More of a long-term.
Got it. Sheila Kahyaoglu with Jefferies. Again, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.